I don't know what Moshka is. Reincarnation I can speak about. So my first entry into spirituality was Buddhism, and I really like the way they talk about reincarnation. So each Buddhist group is different, but the one that I studied with called it rebirth. And they would say it's not a person that's reborn. So there isn't a person that is reborn in a new life. It is the rebirth of habits and conditions. So to me, that fits perfectly with non-duality, and it also fits perfectly with this idea of ancestral karma as well. Like if you've ever bred dogs or watched dogs, like you can really see the ancestral karma. If you have like an aggressive mother or father dog, there's a good chance that you'll have aggressive puppies, or fearful ones, you'll have fearful ones. And there will be similar characteristics and dynamics. This is why you pay lots of money for show dogs, because we breed them so they have particular traits in order to be a show dog or a retriever or hunting dog. And then you pay loads of money for these two show dogs to breed, because they carry on those habits and those conditions. So yeah. And then that also makes sense for me, like in this life, like there isn't a you there who asked the question. Baba, I think Badger asked the question, a Badger. There isn't actually a you there which is experiencing now. There is habits and conditionings, with the misidentification with those habits and conditioning. In Hinduism and Jainism, release from the cycle of rebirth, impelled by the law of karma, the transcendent state attained as a result of being released from the cycle of rebirth. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And then Katie, under that, so that's KN that says that. She says, can you talk about law of attraction and getting out of lack state? So to me, law of attraction and karma are really similar. Like it's just like the westernization of karma to me. Like, so karma is the way in which this body is programmed. So we all have like karmic tendencies. And we can change these karmic tendencies to a great extent, but you're going to have your way of being. Like, I'm not going to change my skin color suddenly to purple, like just through changing my mentality. And it's the same with like habits and behaviors. Like there is a tendency that we will have, just like if you think about a dog, it has a tendency. Like the different breeds have a tendency. Like the spaniel is very waggy tailed and very sniffy, and the bulldog is very drawly, grunty, and a bit dopey, but like really good at locking onto something. So we're going to have our tendencies, but there can be a relaxation of these tendencies, and there can also be this letting go. So this energy that believed that that's what they were, and then this seeking to fulfill them. So we have our tendencies, and then we have stories around our tendencies. So if you have a tendency to be a slow person, maybe you've had problems from that, and so in your mind you've got like a desire to be a fast person, so you're always going against yourself, and that's what we call seeking and suffering. So it's like we have our tendencies, there's identification with them, and then there is the belief that in order to be happy we need to be different. Yeah, so it's really interesting, law of attraction, and how it works. So if you want to be really rich and successful in this society, I would assume, not all the time, but most of the time, the people that will be rich and really successful will have a very strong mentality that they are better than everybody else in that particular area that they got rich from. So they will have a king mentality or a queen mentality in that area. So say if they are they become rich through being an actress, it's more than likely there will be a part of them that believes that they are the best at that. So if you take Jim Carrey, for example, do you remember his story that he wrote himself $1 million check, and he believed 100% that he could do it. And I'm sure he has this mentality where he believes he is better than other people in what he does, and he most probably is. But they'll come together. Like, he's amazing with his face and impressions, and yeah, amazing, and a great, really amazing actor as well. So they often come together. And that's really interesting, because what happens in our society is that they say, no matter, like somebody was telling me, no matter what society we have, whether we have communist or capitalist society, the same people end up with the same percentage of wealth. So that same top heavy percentage of wealth, so even in communist society. And I do feel like it's slightly law of attraction based, because you will also breed children if you have that mentality. So if you take like the Trump family, like Donald Trump, so his father had a very strong mentality, I'm the best, I'm the ruler of the world, and then he passed that on to his son. And then I'm sure Donald Trump will pass it on to his next son. Yeah, so it's very interesting. And being rich isn't a good karma. Like, being really rich isn't a good karma. I actually think that being really rich actually can be a very difficult karma, because if you are very rich, then you have to protect all your money from everybody else. So and then you also have this tendency towards believing you're better than other people, which isn't true. And you can get lost in that. Yeah. Mm. And so non-duality enlightenment says that which was never born does not reincarnate, precisely. So to me, enlightenment is recognizing what you truly are. So habits and conditions will carry on to form and change and evolve, but that which you are is never reborn. It always is, though. Mm. So to me, enlightenment is that movement back to you are, and that's, I presume, what in Hinduism and Jainism they're talking about, but I can't be positive about that. Is this movement back to what you are, and then there is no reborn birth. It doesn't mean that the characters' energy doesn't get reborn. So if you look at the Buddha, like in life, he achieved enlightenment, and then in death he achieved nirvana, so not to be born again. Like, he doesn't come back. But if you look, like, his energy and his message has come back into society. So the essence of the Buddha really affected society. So it is in society. So you could say his like habits and conditions have come into society. But nirvana, when he died, like he like like, so in life, this is what they would say, like in life you can only achieve enlightenment because there is still the attachment to the body, because otherwise you'd be dead if you didn't attach, if consciousness didn't in some way attach to the body. And then in enlightenment, it totally lets nirvana, it totally lets go of that. But I feel like life will always go back and watch itself. It can't not. It's always going to watch. Mm. If I'm pure consciousness, how can I have any karma or personality or problems? You're getting mixed up with what I is. So you as a person don't become pure consciousness. You as the person is a habit and conditioning forming from the body. So you as a person don't ever become pure consciousness. There is pure consciousness looking through, and then the body, mind, its behaviors and ways of being have what we call a personality. Even if it just sits there, not saying anything or not speaking, that's still a personality. That is still a personality. Mm. Yeah, totally. So Manam says, but the body mind is not me, who I truly am. Yeah, totally. Mm. So you as pure karma, if you as pure consciousness have no karma. So that which is watching now, that which is experiencing now, has no karma at all. It's perfectly free. But the body mind has karma. And when there's the consciousness is identified with the body mind, or when there's an identification, then it feels like there is a person with karma. But when that breaks, it is seen that, like every object that appears in this life, the body has karma, but it's not who you are. It's an appearance. The genes are not my business. I always think, like in the apparent flow of things, it's always polite to try to tidy up the habits and the conditions. So on the human level, even though there isn't actually free will, like just saying this has an impact though. That on the human level, like a good thing to do is to tidy up, like get your broom out and your dustpan and brush and tidy up the habits and the conditioning of the person, because everybody, including the most enlightened person you come across, has to some extent untidy habits and conditions. Somebody that's never been into this subject has really untidy habits and conditions. Yeah. Katie says, does karma stop once you're enlightened? What happens once there is waking up is the seeing that karma was never who you are, like the person was never who you are, it never belonged to you. Who you are is without any karma. Who you are as consciousness has no karma. Is this empty looking, which is expansiveness and totally free of anything. But the body mind has karma. And the body mind will never not have karma. Like, to me, karma is cause and effect. It's not a bad thing. It will always have karma. It will always have conditioned responses. More than likely, once this waking up, they will begin to prove and expand and become more loving and more in line with this recognition. But even that is karma. It's just maybe what we call good karma.